How to complete an annual disclosure in Cayuse. An annual disclosure is a blanket disclosure form that allows an investigator to report all significant financial interests related to their institutional responsibilities at the university. This form is required for any investigator who is currently involved in the design, conduct, or reporting of a federally funded research program, or anyone who has a significant financial interest in an entity that overlaps with their external funding, regardless of whether the funding is federal or not. Let's walk through how to complete the annual disclosure in Cayuse. We will begin on the Cayuse login page. Once you sign into Cayuse, you will go to your name in the upper right-hand corner, click on it, and then select My Profile. From there, you'll come over to the left-hand side of the page and click on COI Disclosures. This brings you to your disclosures dashboard page where you can see all disclosures that you have. But to complete a new one, you'll click in the upper right-hand corner, the blue button that says New Disclosure, and then select Annual Disclosure. Okay, here's the annual disclosure form. You have all of your sections along the left-hand side. You can see that there is a red circle with a number that indicates the required items that need to be completed in each section. And that number can change depending on how you answer questions. It could be more if you answer yes to some of these questions. So for this first section, it's the policy and training section. We have hyperlinks to the university's policy on financial conflict of interest in sponsored activities, as well as a hyperlink to our webpage that discusses the FCOI training requirements. We also have a definitions section right here that tells you what a significant financial interest is, what you are disclosing on this form, as well as what an institutional responsibility is. So after you have reviewed all of this information, you have an acknowledgement box where you will click to let us know that you acknowledge the disclosure and training requirements. And then you'll see that this section turns green. You can move on to the next section. The next section is the remuneration section. And it essentially starts off by asking one question, which is, in the past 12 months, have you, your spouse, or dependent children received $5,000 or more in remuneration from an outside organization that is related or reasonably appears to be related to your institutional responsibilities at the university? If you have no remuneration to disclose, you click no, and then you'll go ahead and move on to the next section. However, if you do have some remuneration to disclose, you click yes, and a box will pop up for you to tell us the name of the organization you have to disclose. We have several organizations already loaded into Cayuse, so as you start typing, you may see your organization listed and you can select it. However, if you do not see your organization pop up, you can click this box right here, the Request New External Org button, and it will allow you the opportunity to add your name or add your company to the system. So I'm going to select ABC Disney. Now there's a few questions that we need to answer related to ABC Disney. First is who received the remuneration from this section or from this organization. You would click self, spouse, dependent children. You can select more than one if you need to. Is the organization publicly traded or privately held? Estimate the total dollar value received in the past 12 months. There's a drop-down menu for you to select from. And is the organization a foreign entity? If you select yes, then the box below, you would tell us the name of the country the organization is located in. If it's a U.S. company, you would select no, and you can leave this box blank. Then at this time, if you have another organization you need to disclose for remuneration, you would click on the blue Add New Relationship button here. Doing this would open up another box for you to search for your company and then answer the same set of questions for that company. Okay. The next question is related to consulting services, which is the remuneration that you've disclosed for consulting services that you provide? If the answer is yes, then we have one last question, or is to select the statement that best describes your consulting work. Once you've answered all the questions in this section, it should be green, have a green check mark up at the top, and we can move on to the next section. The next several sections are very similar to the remuneration section in that it essentially asks one question if you have anything to disclose. So for this equity interest section, this question is saying, do you have any equity interest to disclose? If you don't, you click no and you move on to the next section. Or if you click yes, then that's when the box appears asking you to list your organization and answer the questions associated with that organization. So for the purposes of this training, we're going to select no to these next several sections to get through this form. And then the last section is the certification section. And on this page, you're essentially acknowledging the requirements for financial conflict of interest here and certifying that you have everything you've disclosed on this form is complete, accurate, and true by clicking this box here, entering your MSU net ID in this text box. And then here you have the opportunity to attach any documents you might want to have on file with this disclosure form. Once you are done, you have green check marks in every section. You would scroll up to the very top upper right-hand corner and click the Submit button, and then click the green Proceed button to fully submit your form.